So welcome to the show, guys. Hi there, business owners, directors, and marketeers. In today's show, I'm meeting Emeric Ernoult from Agora Pulse, and I'm Lucas, your host as always. And I want to tell you a little bit about Emeric before we actually get started with the show. So he is a co-founder of Agora Pulse, and the truest SaaS, in a truest sense, a SaaS entrepreneur in the social media marketing space. Actually, what is really interesting, he posts a lot of little social media experiments on his Twitter account, so check that out. And he considers himself a social media and Facebook marketing addict, hence the product that they're working on, as well as a Facebook marketing blogger. So I'm really excited to learn more from Emeric about the product and about his take on social media marketing. So welcome to the show, Emeric.
Thank you, Lucas. Thanks for having me.
Very good. So tell us about your company. What is it all about?
The Agora Pulse started at the end of 2011. It's part of the group of products that fits under the term social media management. But when you think about the vision we have and the mission we have for ourselves to help the market with, or to have an impact on the market somehow, is to basically turn social media chaos into value. That's the end result. That's what we want to create. Like, social media is a huge chaos. Everybody will agree with you when you tell them, hey, is social media something clear and nice and that you understand and you get and you see how valuable it is for you to spend time on social media? The 100% of people will tell you, no, I don't. I mean, it's a mess. It's chaotic. It's all over the place. I don't get it. I'm not sure it's even ROI positive, whatever.
Yep.
So our mission, at the end of the day, we want to turn that chaos into something people can manage and they can get value out of managing it. That's what we do.
Really good. And who would be the types of people or the types of companies that would be using Agora Pulse to sort of make sense of that social media mess and sort of bring it in a structured way?
Eventually, any business. I want to build a product that appeals to any business, but that's eventually. As of today, as of right now, the ideal customer for us are the social media managers, who are the ones in charge of making sure that the content is being published on time when content has to be published across different social profiles, and that messages and private messages and comments and reviews are being addressed, responded to, hidden when it's trolls and spam and stuff like that. So in other words, the incoming content on those many social profiles that the business is present on are being managed. And the subset of ideal customers for us is agencies who do that for their clients.
Makes a lot of sense. Very, very good. So how would any of those social media marketing managers usually find you? Could you describe like a typical journey that they would go through in order to find and discover Agora Pulse?
So it's a good question. We are not an enterprise solution, i.e., I don't have an army of salespeople who keep cold calling, a bunch of potential targets or prospects. We are in the SMB space, so we're low touch, and we do sell for an average of 135 euros per month, like $145 per month. So it's quite affordable, and it's in the affordable range. That means that you cannot have people cold calling all day long, and because it's too expensive, there's no ROI in this. So you have to build an engine that makes sure eventually that when people are looking for a solution like the one you're offering, they find you. So basically, when people are in that process of finding a software like ours, we're part of the consideration process. So it's a whole set of things. It's not one thing. It's basically making sure that you are present when people search on Google for the keywords that lead to you. You are present on the review sites where people are checking those review sites to see if you're worth checking or not. But also that you are present in your prospects' life to give them value, provide value to them before they even consider purchasing you. So it means, creating some useful and unique content that they appreciate consuming, offering them, training and certifications and webinars and all that kind of, value. And it can take many different forms, but basically prospects in your market months before or years before they even consider becoming a customer. So it's all that.
Yep.
There's no silver bullet. It's a combination of all this.
Very, very interesting. Any new channels that you're very excited about at the very moment?
No. It's channels. I mean, this sounds like growth hacking. I don't believe in growth hacking. Well, not in the sense that a lot of people have been describing growth hacking. I believe in growth hacking in the sense that growth is a constant iteration on what works, what doesn't work, and what else can you test. And it's something. It's a logic. It's religion. Maybe one can say that you have to install in your company. That's so people understand that not everything needs to be tested all the time, and they need to be in that constant learning about what works, what doesn't work. No, there's no channel in particular. There's no, maybe Facebook ads were cheap and working 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but not anymore. So if you cannot build a business on, oh my God, this channel is working and it's so cheap right now, because in a year or 18 months, it will be gone. So it's kind of cool if you can seize that when it happens, but it's not a strategic move. It's a tactical move. So I love tactics, but I like strategy much better.
Very, very interesting. So you mentioned that the approach would be rather low touch. So could you tell me a little bit about the role of the website? Is that then something that is key for your company, or is it more an informational hub? What role would the website play?
Yeah, well, it is important. It is important, but what's really key is what happens before the website. Because if what happens before the website is nailed and you've succeeded in building that consideration funnel, so when they eventually say, I gotta check these guys and go on their website, at least they're not disappointed. So that's the very least. So you have to make sure that you look okay. We're not super happy about the way our website looks right now. It's okay. It's not great. So we know we still have progress to make there compared to some other website we admire. Well, it's actually better than most of our bigger competitors. So I'm okay with that for now, but I'd like it to look even better and to be even more nice to browse and check and clear and so on and so forth. So not disappoint is the number one. And number two is provide the answer that people may be looking for. So do they have that feature? Do they do this? Do they do that? So you have to make sure that your website is covering those questions. So it's an important role, but it's not as important as what you do to get people to get to your website.
Makes a lot of sense. You mentioned that pre-consideration funnel. So you have that pre-consideration funnel and you have the website. So what types of metrics then do you take into consideration, or do you consider really important from sort of the bunch of metrics that you could take into consideration? What is key for you to steer the business?
That's an amazing question. It's actually an amazing question. We're working on a lot right now. So I can't really answer your question at this point, because we're putting together the sets of metrics that we absolutely want and need to track, because it's difficult. When you look at a lot of the metrics you used to look at, like, I don't know, traffic. If you look at global traffic that we used to look at for a while, if you have one blog post, that's getting an amazing amount of traffic, but it's completely useless. And that's exactly something we had and we still have. For some reason, Google likes us for anything relating to getting more followers on Instagram. So we have one post in English, one in French, one in Portuguese, and one in Spanish that are all about the same post in 4 different languages that are all about how to get more followers on Instagram. Those posts makes for a fourth of our entire traffic. Wow. Yeah, I know. Because it's a super high volume requests on Google. A lot of people wants more followers on Instagram, and we're ranking super high for this search. That blog post, that's typical blog similar piece of content. And that traffic is made of a lot of people who will never be a client of ours because they're too small. They don't need us, basically. So if you look at my traffic and you take that as a KPI, you're going to be fooled by, in a lot of different ways. If it goes up, you say, yeah, amazing, but maybe it's just that blog post got one more rank up. The Google result is like it went from number 2 to number 1 and suddenly it explodes in terms of conversion. Or the other way around is going down. Oh my God, the traffic is going down, but actually you don't care because it's useless traffic. So we learned over the years that looking at that alone is meaningless. And then you say, okay, so what should we track? So now we're focusing on tracking the non-content traffic. So we look at the traffic on our corporate website, the one where we have the homepage, the pricing page, the feature pages. And I would even argue that if you track only the pricing page, you're probably very, very, very close to the intent. Like people checking your website, if they are really interesting and they don't know what your pricing could be, one of the things they want to make sure is that it is for them. So they will check your pricing page. So, eventually maybe checking the pricing page traffic is the right metric when you look at web traffic. And then you look at, okay, how many from that is becoming a free trial? Yep. And so forth. And then, how many of them become a paid client? So those will be the metrics eventually I would track. But on the website, it's tricky, as I said, to identify what is the most pertinent metric you want to track on the traffic, website traffic.
Makes a lot of sense. You mentioned you alluded to conversion rate on the pricing page, at least. Is that something you have been trying to improve with the team? Is that something you actively sort of tackle, or is that something?
That's another great question. I have a marketing team who loves doing experiments and A/B tests and all that stuff. I am more the kind of person who like to go with my gut feeling on common sense and what is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. The price page, they did run a bunch of experiments comparing pricing pages that looked awfully ugly to me. Like, for example, at one point they tested a page with a very long list of features. It was so long I couldn't even read the list of features that they were aligning. And there was 50 features. Like, who reads 50 features in a pricing page? No one. And they told me, oh, that one won against the short list of features. And I said, nah, I love to A/B test and all that stuff. It's super fun and everything, but please give me a pricing page that looks good. I don't care if it wins. If it looks bad, I don't want to use it. So it's interesting you say that, because we went from doing a lot of tests on the pricing page to almost doing no tests on the pricing page, and say, okay, let's build a pricing page that's clear, that lists the core features, that tell people what they need to know, and there is a bunch of things they probably don't want to know at that point that we hide and we remove, and that's it. Like, that looks good, we agree, we decide that this is what we want, and obviously, you ask your clients, you ask your prospects, and you look at your competitors' pricing pages. But we went from that place of testing everything. Oh, if we change the color of that button, which by the way is bullshit. Don't change the color of a button on a pricing page as an A/B test. It's a complete waste of time. All that is hard, taking a lot of time, energy, resources. You need a lot of data to have a valid A/B test. So sometimes it takes 2 months to realize that, oh yeah, that shitty looking pricing page that 50% of my traffic saw for the last 2 months. Can you imagine that? It actually lost. The other one was better. And I'm like, oh my God, why did you do that to me?
Understand.
So now I let's build a good looking one that's clear enough, that gets everything we think the prospects told us they want, and not worry too much about testing little small variations that are not going to change a lot.
Very good. One small follow-up question on this before we changing gears a little bit, talking about your business. You have on your page the booking a demo as well as starting your free trial. Like, is there different targets, different types of clients that you would invite for a demo? How should we to be balanced?
First, you need to, and I think most SaaS people understand that, but people want to get in touch with your product in different ways, and that's the way it is. And whether they're paying $99 or $4.99, There will be people who want to see someone talk. There will be people who just want to start a free trial and don't talk to anybody. There will be people who want to click on your guide, walkthroughs and guides and stuff that you've installed using AppQs or Pendo or a tool like that. So, and you have to appeal to all of them. You have to offer each and every one of those prospects the way they want to discover your product. Obviously, you can, if they only want to pay 49 or 99 and you cannot do one-on-one demos because it's not working financially for you, you can do group demos, which is what we do for 99. So it's 4 or 5 people in one demo. They can ask questions, they can talk to the person, but it's not one-on-one, so it's more scalable. Basically, I don't think it's based on, well, the more they pay, the more they want to have a personal touch and contact with someone. That's true. That's for sure. But for everybody else, it really depends on the people. I know I'm the kind of guy who just want to discover the product and spend 15 minutes on it and see if I see something I like or not. I don't want to talk to a salesperson if I'm not already convinced that this is what I need. So we're all different in the way we want to discover products.
Very cool, very interesting. I would have one question. It's something that you've been writing about maybe 2 years ago, a little bit more. You have been writing about the fact of being in a competitive large market quite a bit versus being sort of a pioneer in something relatively new. I was wondering if your perspective on this, because if I understood it right, it seems to be tending quite to rather be in a large competitive market because this will carry you along. I was wondering how your perspective has been evolved on this type of topic, because you seem to have had quite some engagement with this topic in the past.
Yeah, I still feel the same about this statement. It is still as difficult as it was back then to succeed in a competitive market, but at the same time, competitive, big and growing market, because that's the market we're in right now. It's as we may to find a creative way to outperform your competition than it is to convince people who don't think they need you. You know what I mean? Like trying to convince someone, oh, you need my tool. Well, are you sure? I'm not sure. I don't feel I need your tool. I don't want to spend 15 minutes listening to you telling me why I need your tool, where in the first place, I don't even think I need your tool. Yeah. That is horrible. I've been in that seat as an entrepreneur for a long time, for 10 years. And trust me, you don't want to be in that place. It's a horrible place. It is difficult to have competition, but you can always come up with, ways, ideas, creative ideas to do something they don't, and go grab a niche that they've left. So it is hard, but it is less hard than convincing the market that they need you, because I don't need to convince the market. They need social media management. They're already looking for it.
Yep, makes total sense. Fully get it. Was just curious if your perspective has changed over the years, but it seems to be very, very solid.
Every markets today are competitive. I mean, look at email, look at CRM, look at everything. Every time I stumble upon a new partner, a new friend who does SaaS, I mean, they all tell me we have 10 competitors. Like everyone has 10 competitors these days, so it is tough.
Yep. Very, very good. Okay, I would be curious to learn, sort of, since we're coming close to an end of the interview today, I would like to learn a little bit about you as a sort of a business founder. What would be one thing, if you would zoom back to the day when you started Agora Pulse, what would be one advice that you would give yourself? One thing that was really important for you to learn, or something that really changed the way you approached building up this company?
Oh my God, there is so much.
Give us one or two.
Well, number one, you think you're going to learn one or two things and it's going to be okay. No. You're going to learn things every freaking week, every freaking month for the next 20, 25 years. I mean, that's learning never stops. I'm still learning things today. And today we're at 10 million ARR. We have 70 employees. We have 6,500 clients all across the globe. So we look successful from the outside. And there are days where I look at how I run the business and how we do things, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. So it never stops. I mean, it keeps being a challenge, and every new every new steps that you go through, you realize that, gosh, you have to learn all these new things because now you've changed dimensions, and the way you did things last year is not going to cut it this time. So that's the first thing. Be prepared for that, because and like, make sure you like that because it's not going to stop. I don't know. There was one thing I wish I could tell me back in the days, like, don't worry, don't be stressed. It's going to be okay. You're going to make it, because we've gone through a lot of very difficult times and a lot of failures and a lot of, a lot of things we tried with my co-founder didn't work out, and we were paying ourselves nothing or a minimum wage, or it really was hard. And I wish I knew at the time, like, okay, it's going to be hard, but at the end, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I can go with life and don't feel guilty and don't feel like I need to work 15 hours a day and not take vacations and all that stuff, all that sacrifice. I wish I didn't sacrifice all I've sacrificed, but maybe that's what helped me get where I got eventually. So I don't know.
Very good. Very good. So everybody can sort of pick how they interpret this advice. Very good.
Yeah.
Like it.
One way or the other. Yeah.
Very
Torture yourself or do not torture yourself, depending on how you feel. This may help you get to where you want to get.
Very cool. So, Emeric, I really appreciate you took the time of your busy day to let us know a little bit about your company and the way you run the company. So thanks for being part of the show today.
My pleasure. Have a great day, Lucas.